Peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of Boss Hijabipreneur. Women often appear to suffer from the misconception that to be successful in business or accepted in society, they have to diminish or denounce their faith or beliefs. As a business coach, I have encountered women cross culturally who face internal conflict regarding their religious identity, maintaining their family roles, and being their most authentic selves. I developed this podcast to help guide them back to reclaiming their faith, better define their roles as women so they can own their identity, live their absolute best life, and be a powerhouse in business. Let's tune in to today's episode, already in progress. Welcome back to all my oldie but goodie listeners, and welcome, Boss Hijabi, if you're new. I'm not one of those I told you so people. I'm more of a proactive slash let's find the solution type person. Doing things before something happens. I'd rather have something in place and not need it than need it and not have it. A lot of women in business I work with have been in business for 5+ years, many for 5, 10, 15, and 20 years, who have been doing business a certain way. This is not an age thing. This is an access to information and being open to change thing. Nothing beats an in person exchange for sure, but let's face it, the internet has made it possible to front face clients without ever having to be in the same room with them. 99% of my client appointments in my coaching business are done virtually. The products I sell are sent via email, mailed out, or taught virtually, and I may never have met the person in real life. I sell tickets to my play, webinars, and in person events 99.9% online. In the past few months, we have been thrown another curveball in the form of a pandemic that whose short-term effects we are beginning to see and whose long-term effects have yet to be seen. So with that being said, we have to take it upon ourselves to first of all pray for our well-being and that of our family in all areas, and then move to the tie our camel, so to speak. In today's episode, I'm going to give you 5 ways to build your business online. If you didn't know, I love the number 5. I think it's the perfect amount, not too short as to where you don't have enough information to work from, and not too much to where you feel like you have information overload. Now, let's get into creating an online business so you can sustain your family and your business during economic downturns. This episode will be jam packed with info you can use. Be sure to use the links in our show notes for additional resources. At the end of this episode, I will also give you my link if you would like to hire me to assess your current business model and see if you're a candidate for our online business coaching program. Before we get into the 5 ways you can build your business online, what is an online business or e commerce business? E commerce businesses or online businesses are businesses that transmit goods, services, and funds over the internet. They may vary in size and scope of work, from retail behemoths like Amazon to Etsy and other craft sites. Online shopping is just one of the many areas that have seen extensive growth over the past 5 years. According to a report from the US Census Bureau, in the third quarter of 2019 alone, US e commerce sales amounted to approximately $154.5 billion, dollars, accounting for 11.2% of all retail sales in the nation. So, why is this important to you as a business owner? As a smart, savvy, bossy, jabby business owner, your business will go as far as the information you, as the owner, knows and applies to your business. So, think of it this way: if what you know is working trade shows, running a brick and mortar store, and a large portion of the population has moved away from making purchases that way, you must ask yourself how much longer you can operate using a single means of access to your product. The short answer is you can't. Here's an alternative. What if you create multiple platforms for your target market to access your product? So, what are ways that you can do that? So, as promised, I'm going to give you 5 ways that you can build your business online. And this is for people that have never gone into an online business space or have never even gone into business, just period. And this is also for people that may have been in business for a while. Maybe you've been in business for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, like some of the women that I named a little bit earlier. and now you're looking to move from, that brick and mortar or vending type model, and you're looking to either transition or add to your business, and creating some type of online or e-commerce business, right? So the first thing that you want to do is you want to know your client. So before you decide on your platform, you must first know your current client. This is one of the first things that I like to talk about, because if you don't know who you're serving, none of the other stuff makes sense and you'll be spinning your wheels. So the first thing is you must know your current client and your potential client. They may have some of the same characteristics. The difference is they want to engage with your product online versus in person. So the way that this looks is you may have been, used to, or you may be used to working, the brick and mortar model, right? And a person coming into your store or finding your store and then coming in and then browsing your store. So in everything that we're doing right now, all of the tips that I'm giving you, you want to kind of take that type of mindset. Just think about the person that walks into your store. If you have a brick and mortar store right now, or when you're vending at events, who is the person that not only gravitates to your table, but then ends up buying from your table, right? What does that person look like? What are the characteristics? And all of this is based on your specific product. So it's not, I'm giving you general information. I'm not going into specifics, right? So you could sell earrings. You could, provide a service, which, you do henna, or it could be that you have a restaurant, or you sell food products, you have a food store, or you could have a bookstore, whatever the case may be, right? This is all general, like overarching. So anyone with any type of product can take these tips and get started. You will start to get into specifics when you think about the actual characteristics, when you think about, possibly the way a person shops, like a person who gets henna, why do they choose you over another person that does henna, and that type of thing. So when you deal with your specific business, you'll niche down, but I won't do that for the purposes of the show, because we're dealing with multiple dealing with multiple industries on this particular episode, right? So, again, just going back, so before you decide on your platform, you must know your current client and your potential client. So, the current client is the person that's coming up to your table or that's coming to your brick and mortar store, more of that in person person. Your potential client is going to maybe look a little bit differently or have some different characteristics than that current client that's walking into your store. So, say, like for me, I'm actually a hybrid. Depending on the product, I like to be in person, or there are other, products that I like to shop online. There are other retailers, so like I love Burberry, right? So the way that I shop is I may go into the store to see it when it launches, but I may order it from online. And the reason that I do that is because the bag or the item, the wallet that I've seen in the store, other people have touched it. Whereas 9 times out of 10, if I order it from online, it's coming from the factory, it's coming from the warehouse, and no one has touched it. So that's my thinking behind it. The later, of course, it gets into the season, that may not be so, but if it's close to a product launch, I'll do that. So I'll go into the store and I'll look at it. Same thing with sneakers, like, or shoes. I'll go into the store, I'll take a look at it, and then I'll order it from online. More than, like I said, 9 times out of 10, no one has touched those shoes or that particular item. So I'm what you call a hybrid. So you have to think about that too. Maybe some of your clients are hybrids. Maybe some of your people, they come back and they order the same type of dress. Say you offer dresses. Maybe that person orders the same type of dress all the time. When you come out with a new color, they just go ahead and buy it. That person would be the perfect type of person for you to pitch. Hey, I went to online sales. My store will be closed for a few weeks. I've moved to online sales, and I would love for you to take advantage. I want to make sure I only have 10 of these in stock. We do have your size in stock. Would love to ship this out to you. And then, that person kind of becomes that hybrid person that either comes into your store or shops online. And so that's a way for you to kind of open up that new, vehicle to be able to access your item. So, getting into specifics here, um, one of the game changing tips, and this I charge my clients for, so you want to make sure that you listen up. And this is going back to you creating that avatar or that target client profile that I just started to touch on a little bit earlier. So you want to make sure that you create your avatar or target client profile. Most people that get on a coaching call with me, it's the first thing that we talk about. So, maybe the second thing. So the first thing is, of course, I ask them their general well-being. I ask them, are they in it for the long haul? We go through all of those basic type things. And then the second thing that we move into is this, because literally I can't talk strategy, I can't talk anything else until I know who it is that your product is going to be talking to. So one of the first things that I have people do is I have them get a blank piece of white paper. It could be white, it could be pink, it could be whatever color, but most of the time, blank pieces of paper are white, right? So we're going to say white for the purposes of this exercise, right? So get yourself a blank, no lines, nothing like that, blank piece of paper, almost like, copy paper. And you're going to write down the 10 characteristics of your avatar. And some of the very first things that I like for you to identify with your avatar is, first of all, gender. So is your avatar male or female, or is it a combination of both, depending on your product? And then where do the one of the other things is how much money do they make? How much do they spend a year on the product you're selling? Where do they live? And then where do they shop, your competitors? So what competitors do they shop, right? And where are they? Are they online? Are they in person? That kind of thing. And then are they funny? Are they serious? Are they quirky? This will help you to market to them. So all of these things will help you market to them. And you want to have a minimum of 10 characteristics or things that describe your target avatar. So you want to make sure that you get started with that. So that's one. Number two, invest in a platform you can communicate to your avatar or your target client. So there are usually people here that say that social media is the devil, right? So I often talk about this. You often hear me say on these episodes, you often hear me say that people say social media is the devil, Facebook is the devil and that kind of thing. So we're going to seek refuge now and then we're going to move on. So we're going to say, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim," and we're going to move on because social media is not the devil. Anything that is misused can be negative. So let's use social media to spread positivity in general, information that is of benefit, and yes, market your business for free. Sorry, not sorry, but if you're not marketing your business on social media, you're losing big time. And I'm going to say that again. If you are not marketing your business on social media, you're losing big time. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, especially, I mean, it's a great way for you to get your product in front of your target audience. So, depending on age, depending on demographic, like literally, if you think about it, you may know, like, I know people from India that I met online. I've met people on Australia. They've been interviewed on this podcast, and I met them all through social media. And I was able to learn different things that they are applying to their business. I was able to learn that from them by connecting with them on social media. So social media will give you back what you put into it. So if you want it to give you back positivity, make sure that you're feeding positivity into it. So you can create a free blog on WordPress if you can't quite afford a website just yet. And I can get into specifics with that at a later time, but for the purposes of this episode, you can actually research. You can go to google.com and you can type in WordPress and they'll be able to help you set up, a free blog where you can start to communicate to an audience or start to build an audience via WordPress. But I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that because it's a great way for you to get started, especially if there's not a lot of capital that you can use to promote your business or that you have to promote your business. You can also use a social media platform and attach PayPal for people to pay you. So that's another way too. So that's a workaround for not having a website. And we're going to get into that later. And the goal of doing all of this is for you to move to an app and or website. And I say and I would actually say more move towards the and. So move to an app or website so that you have more control over and leverage over the platform in the event that the social media platform goes away. So I know we like to think that, Facebook is not going anywhere, Twitter's not going anywhere, Instagram is not going anywhere, but let's face it, it's a platform and they can move away from it if they'd like to. I'm sure when MySpace was out, we didn't think that they were going to move away from MySpace. Vine was another one of those, and people have moved away from those platforms. So you always want to be prepared and have your own own, I mean, wouldn't you want to have more control over, the people that come onto your platform versus not? People that sign up for your app or people that go onto your website, they should be looking for something specific. Whereas the people that are on your social media platform, you would hope that those people are on your page because they're interested in what you are, what you're selling or what, the content that you're putting out. But in a lot of cases, they're not. Some of the people are just there just to see, but those people don't buy. So if you think about it, think about the percentage of people that you have. Some of you may have 100,000, 200,000, 50,000 followers, right? Just think about the number of people that actually buy your product. So that's what I mean when, I say that, if you get an app or you have your website, those people are coming specifically because they want to either buy your product or they're interested in learning more information about something specific, right? Number three, choose your products carefully. So this right here is probably where a lot of people make the business biggest mistakes. And not only biggest mistakes, but where there's a lot of trial and error in this space right here, which there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're in business, right? But if you want to have less, trial and error and more success, you want to make sure that you're putting the right products out there and you're choosing carefully. So you know why businesses fail. They don't know their why and they don't evolve. So both of those are reasons why businesses fail is because they don't know their why and they don't evolve. So a perfect example is Apple. Apple started out selling computers, then transitioned to phones, tablets, and other products, right? Or evolved into selling those other products. Their why is to help create products that help people gain access to information and be able to communicate, etc. Right? So with that in mind, ask yourself your why. And then ask yourself what your target market needs and then work to introduce products that fill that need. No matter what is happening in the world, do you have a product or service people will always gravitate to? And those are questions that you want to ask yourself when you are putting those products out. There's nothing wrong with going over your website and looking at the different products that you carry and maybe hiding some of those products for now because they're not selling, they're not relevant, right? So making sure that the products that are on your site that are available for sale, that are taking up that valuable real estate on your website are products that people are looking for and that are products that people will want to buy. There's nothing wrong with creating another business. There's nothing wrong with creating another website. You could create a landing page that sells a specific product for a limited amount of time. There's so many options out there, but don't be afraid to go into another niche or not even another niche, but go into another product and promoting another product that is more relevant and that people are more interested in. The fourth thing is that you want to market, and market some more. You know who will buy your product, right? The people who know you have a product to sell. So the people that will buy your product are the people who know you have a product to sell. The people who feel your product will help them achieve results. Let's use a brick and mortar store example. You put up your business name on the building or awning so people can easily identify your business as they pass it by, either walking or in their car, right? You have business cards and or business mailers made up to promote your business. You list your business in the yellow pages so people can find it. You place an ad in the newspaper so people can find it. So why not market your business online via an e-commerce store and give your target customer another avenue to connect with your business? And so if we want to just kind of, get over that fear of, going into the e-commerce space or having an online business, right? Is thinking of it in the way that I just explained. You may be thinking, oh my goodness, here we go with the website talk, here we go with the social media talk and all that good kind of stuff. And it could be, although I'm giving you 5 ways, it could be information overload at this time. But if you follow each step and you work within each step by step, you'll be able to have a website up and running in a week to 2 weeks, depending on how often you work on it. 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, just thinking of the concept, you'll be able to have a business up and running. You'll be able to have your product promoted. You'll be able to have a website if that's your goal, depending on what your goal is, right? And so, are you ready for a website is a question that I get asked often. And I actually defer people to making a website until they've actually already started to create a following for free. So why should you spend, money on a website, creating the designs, hiring a graphic designer, create a web developer, whatever the case may be? Why should you, invest all of this money into that? And sometimes, in some cases, go into the negative where you're pulling from your personal savings into your business because you're not making enough money in your business. Why should you invest in that when you can use social media as your website, so to speak, until you can build up a large enough following? So if you're not making consistent money in your business, you have no business building a website just yet. And this is not to make you feel bad or anything like that. This is just me telling you from trial and error myself, that sometimes we put the cart before the horse. So here's a perfect way to get started marketing your business online for free. And again, I'm going to use these two words that everyone dreads: social media. You can create a business page on the platform you're most familiar with and start talking about your biz there. So you can use Instagram, you can use Facebook, you can use Twitter, you can even use LinkedIn, and dare I say it, Pinterest. So those are 5 platforms that you can use. There are other platforms as well. You can use Snapchat, you can use TikTok. There are a lot of different ways that you can get your product in front of your particular audience, depending on their age group. So that's something else that I would look at, is make sure that you have your age group down pack, and that this is the definite age group that I'm targeting. And if age is not a factor in who you're targeting, there must be, they must have something in common that brings them all together. And you want to make sure that, in your graphics, in your language, that you're speaking to all of those, people. And those age groups, right? So again, create a business page on the platform you're most familiar with and start talking about your biz there. This is not something that you're going to do once a week. This is something that you're going to do every day. And in the beginning, I would recommend you at least talk to your client 3 times a day. You're at least touching 3 times a day. I know many social media marketers that say 3 to 5 times a day you should be connecting with your audience. So whether that's in your stories, whether that's a post on your page, whatever the case may be, right? So you can choose what it looks like. And it's a great way. So a great way to build your email list is by building up your following as a first step. So I'm giving you a lot there, and of course, we can go more into in depth with that. But for the purposes of this episode, I just wanted to kind of give you, just a tidbit that you can get started with right after you finish listening to this episode. Step number five is rinse and repeat. So everything that we just talked about, number one, number two, number three, number four, make sure that you're continuing to follow that process. You may have to go back to those steps over and over and over again, right? So don't stop talking about your business to your current or your potential clients, even if they're not responding. So this was something that I did in the beginning. So I had a nice size email list that I was able to pull from people that I had met in person, some people that I had known, in my corporate job that, we had talked about, if I transitioned, would they be interested in working for me? So I had a nice size list that I could pull from. But how I was able to build up my client list and how I was able to build up my email list essentially and to connect with people that I knew that would be interested in my product is I kept talking about it on my social media. I would do lives every single day. I would post on my page 3 to 5 times a day using, 9 to 10 hashtags on every single post, and that was the way that I started to connect with people that were not people that I knew or that people that I had met in person. So that's how I was able to do that. Um, and the other thing is, so make don't stop talking about your business to current or potential clients. We talked a little bit earlier about this. Don't be afraid to have multiple businesses. So if you have one that's doing well, you may build another one that is similar or very close very close to what your first business is, but maybe targeting differently, maybe having its own landing page, etc. All of it is coming into the same pot. So a lot of millionaires, a lot of people who are 6 figures or better and are doing very well in their business. They have multiple businesses. They have multiple streams of income. So again, the average millionaire has seven streams of income or more. And now seven used to be like, the average millionaire has seven streams of income. Nowadays, millionaires and billionaires, they actually have even more than seven streams of income. So don't be afraid to branch off into other areas of interest. If your business fail, use what worked in the first business and apply it to your new business. So say if you had, like an idea or a recent idea and it just didn't quite work, right? Just didn't quite work out. Take what you learned from that. I remember, being in the cleaning business and, I loved, just talking about it. I ran a successful six-figure cleaning business for 10 years. But I woke up one day and I was no longer passionate about it. I wanted to be in a space where I could front face more women and educate them on how to start their own businesses with what they already knew, which is why I started my company, BUNHD LLC. Right. And so, just again, learn from what didn't go well and work to do better in that area in the new biz. And don't be afraid to hire people to help you in the areas where you're deficient. So, going from a cleaning business where I knew all of the ins and outs, in the beginning, those first, 9 years, I was so passionate. But then in that last year, I didn't front face a lot of clients. So that meant that the thing that I love to do, which is interacting with people, I wasn't doing that. I felt like, my language, my vocabulary, was starting to diminish. I wasn't, interacting with people and using what I learned, through books and that kind of thing. So, you kind of lose what you don't use, right? And so I knew that I wanted to be, more hands-on as far as the people were concerned. And I wanted to show people the same thing that I was able to apply to build my, successful cleaning business. I wanted to show people that they could do that no matter what business they were in. And, my corporate background is in, sales, marketing, finance. And so literally, I could sell, sand, to a camel, right? Or sand to an Arabian, whatever the case may be, because I understand, how to, talk to people. I understand how to read body language. I understand, how to, just relate, and be relatable. That customer service piece is huge if you are in any type of sales, marketing, or service-based business, right? The customer service piece is paramount to your success, right? And so I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And 4 years later, here at BUNHD, I've done just that. And I have worked with over 100 women to create businesses to afford them and their families the lifestyle they want to lead. One focused on faith, family, and yes, their finances. I have worked with women with service-based business like beauticians and have helped them add product lines to their business to create additional streams of income apart from the service they provide. And in these times now, a lot of people may not be going to, their local beautician, may not be going to their esthetician. So the products that they have created outside of the service part of their business, is what will help them to be able to still, build their income, or have their monthly income every single month. So they'll be able to push those products and mail those physical products out, right? I have also, worked for women who the opposite was true. So they had a product, but they didn't offer a service. So the same thing, being able to be flexible within your business. So I've helped multiple businesses go from four figures a month to five, from five figures a month to six. And this year we will have multiple million-dollar entrepreneurs that have gone through the BUNHD coaching program. And so, I would love, love, love to help more women be able to do that this year. So, if you are a brick and mortar business that makes between $3,000 and $5,000 a month and would like to add an e-commerce store to increase sales, as I talked about in the beginning of the episode, I am a resource for you. So you can email info@bunhd.com, or you can text the word e commerce to 267-888-6406. I'm going to say that again. If you're a brick and mortar business that makes between $3,000 and $5,000 a month that would like to add an e-commerce store to increase sales, you can email info@bunhd.com or text e-commerce to 267-888-6406. If you have an e-commerce store already, so if you're already savvy and you've already been able to get your business online, but you make $10,000 a month, and would like help creating a more effective sales and marketing strategy, you can also text to that same number. So if your e-commerce store is already up and running and you make about $10,000 or so a month, and you want to move to 20, you want to move to 30, you want to move to 50,000 or more a month, you can do the same. You can text the word e-commerce 10 to 267-888-6406. And that's again, e-commerce 10 to 267-888-6406, or email info@bunhd.com, and I'll be happy to get you set up with more information about the different programs and how you can get started working with me. I pray this episode has been of benefit, praying for everyone's safety and an abundance of blessings and khair. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings be upon you. My inspirational quote of the week: the Prophet ﷺ said, "The most beloved of people to Allah are those who are most beneficial to others, and the most beloved of deeds to Allah is happiness that you bring to a fellow Muslim, or relieve him of distress, or pay off his debt, or expel from him hunger." Whether this pertains to our position within the households, workplace, within the masjid, community, university, Islamic society, we must remember that we are there for the people. Bear in mind that assisting other people with what you have been given is an active means of its preservation. The Prophet ﷺ said, "There are certain people whom Allah chooses from amongst the masses to give them blessings, so that they can be at the assistance of others. Allah will keep such blessings with them so long as they continue to use them to assist others. If they stop doing so, however, it is taken away from them and given to somebody else." Narrated by At-Tabarani on the authority of Ibn Umar. If you found this episode to be helpful, please subscribe, share with your colleagues and friends, and be sure to leave us a testimonial that we can share with our listeners. If you have a business or product and would like to sponsor an episode, please email the word sponsor to info@bunhd.com for more details. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. This has been another spectacular episode of Boss Hijabipreneur, brought to you by BUNHD LLC and the Not Without My Hijab stage play. To find out more about services for women of faith in business and the next city up on the tour, visit www.bunhd.com. It is our hope here at BUNHD that after each episode, you will be empowered to have a deeper connection in your spirituality, personal, and business relationships. As women of faith, we have a responsibility to learn our religion, apply it to our daily lives, and to make a positive contribution in our local and global community.